very great pleasure to welcome again the talented Molly Stone. Many of you already know Molly from the program she did for us last fall, or from just seeing her around the neighborhood, or from attending one of her programs. Molly was born and raised in Hyde Park, educated at Lab, and has degrees from Amherst, Westminster Choir College, and Northwestern. She directs virtually at the moment the University of Chicago University Chorus and Women's Chorus and other groups. Too many to name, I think, Molly. The pandemic has not curtailed her activity in the least. She works with Village Harmony, an organization devoted to world choral music. Together with her collaborators and co directors, she sets up and leads workshops for choirs around the country and around the world. These workshops are devoted to learning music directly from the culture bearers of their own countries or regions. For example, from within the US, I'm sorry, from within the US to Nigeria, Iran, New Zealand, South Africa, Bulgaria, the Ukraine, Madagascar, Bosnia, Corsica, and so on. Today, we are fortunate to have Molly bring us some samples of this world music. She will also give us some brief introductions as we go along. If you have comments or questions, please enter them in the chat, and Molly will elaborate as much as she can at the end of the program. She'll also, as I say, give us introductions as we go along to the music and what it represents. Here is Molly.
Thank you, Susan. That actually, yeah, that's pretty much life right now. Most choral conductors are kind of desperate to figure out what to do. We're all tired of looking at virtual choirs with all the people's faces on the screen. We're all like just missing singing together. And I just happen to luck out because I spend a lot of my life trying to encourage people in the choral world to try to learn music from other traditions as authentically as possible. And it's hard to convince people to put in the work to do that. But now that we have Zoom, it's been kind of amazing because anytime a choir wants to learn a song from a certain culture, they're like, "Oh, I found this sheet music online," and we're like, "No, God, no, please, God, no. That's like not authentic. It's not even in the right from the right country, or in the right language." And then I'm like, "How would you like to have a workshop directly with someone from that country?" And I set it up for them on Zoom, and it's been life changing. It really has, and it's enabled us to stay both connected to our teachers in foreign countries and keep them employed during this time where otherwise they would have no economic no financial stability. So it's been kind of incredible. And I'll show you some examples of that in the course of this virtual concert. What I'm going to do is I'm first going to play you a bunch of our virtual collaborations. Of course, these are not as fulfilling in many ways as a live concert, live concert footage, but it is at least a little educational to show you what some of us are doing. So some of these were made in December for our like end of the quarter concert, and some of them were literally finished being made at 4 this morning. So I was up very late trying to put together some of our newer pieces like that we just started 4 weeks ago. So I'm a little bit I look really tired. But I'm gonna actually the very first song we're gonna do is a little bit in honor of Valentine's Day. Although of course all love songs are about being brokenhearted, so I don't really get that. But anyway, this is one of in English you can sing along with. This is Sam Cooke's Bring It On Home to Me that we did in our women's ensemble at U of C. We just started learning it 3 weeks ago, but I pressured the women to hurry up and make recordings so we could put a little something together. So I'm putting the text in the chat so that you can sing along if you want. I mean, maybe you know it. You probably know it. There's a lot of yeah, yeah, yeahs. That part's great. Come on. Oh, it's not showing up. I see the first verse. There's the second verse. And then you go back to the first verse at the end. So I won't make you sing with me the whole time, but it is fun to sing a little bit. Still not. There we go. There's the first 3 verses in the chat. So Like I said, we only finished learning this like very recently. So I asked any singer who was ready to record a video of themselves singing it, which we've put together. And there are more people singing on it that just recorded audio tracks, but not everybody was comfortable on video yet. So this is, I think, 8 different singers. Um, Hang on one second. I'm going to find the video and hopefully this works. No, no, no. Don't open it in that program, computer. There we go. All right, here we go. So this is Sam Cooke's Bring It On Home to Me, a shortened version for women's ensemble. And please sing along heartily.
If you ever change your mind about leaving me behind, baby, bring it to me. Bring your sweet loving. Bring it on home to me. Yeah, 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 yeah. I know I laughed when you left, but now I know I only hurt myself. Babe, bring it to me. Bring your sweet loving. Bring it on home to me. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'll give you jewelry and money too. That ain't all I'll do for you. Hey, bring it to me. Bring your sweet loving. Bring it on home to me. Yeah, 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 yeah. If you ever change your mind about leaving me behind, hey, bring it to me. Bring your sweet loving. Bring it on home to me.
So that's just a little example. Now, all of these are done in different ways. So remote collaborations, sometimes they have like a recording that you sing along with and you just record yourself. You send yourself in and then I have to put everybody's voice together in a program like GarageBand and line it all up and then export it. When it has video, it's even more complicated. Basically, choral conductors are now audio engineers and, video producers. It's really kind of a nightmare. But I'll be honest, I love the audio part of it. I think it's really fun because in normal life, I don't get to hear the individual voices of my singers. I have the university chorus sometimes has 130 people in it. I don't get to hear everyone's voices. And now I get to hear each person individually when they send me their sound file. And it's bizarre. This whole era is so bizarre because in some ways it feels like we're kept very much apart from each other, and in other ways there's a level of intimacy that I've never gotten to experience before with each of my singers. So it's hard to negotiate this. Like, yes, we want it to be over, but there are certainly things that are to be learned from it. So our next song is going to be our university chorus, and actually this was a collaboration that we did with some members from University Chorus, and then the Motet Choir, which is our undergraduate small ensemble, and some members from the Rockefeller Chapel Choir. We all submitted files together for a beautiful piece by Maurice Duruflé called Ubi Caritas. Duruflé grew up in France. He was born in the early 20th century, and he grew up a choir boy and really was taken with the sound of the Gregorian chant that he was surrounded by. And he later wrote these beautiful pieces that incorporated elements of Gregorian chant and used it as a melody. So in this one, there's a chant, Ubi caritas et amor Deus ibi est. He then took that theme and harmonized it in a sort of late romantic, early 20th century kind of modality. And it's so beautiful. And I'll be honest, every choir sang it in the 80s and early 90s. And it literally got to the point where everyone was like, all right, no more Ubi Caritas. And I remember being like, no more, put it away for 20 years. And suddenly I was like, oh my God, it's been 20 years. We can sing it again. And I can't tell you how much joy it has brought me to like have these pieces come back into my life because I love them so much. So here's the other thing about this. When you're recording it in your house by yourself, it is not like the acoustic space of Rockefeller Chapel, right? So we're used to singing in this gorgeous space, and then you're like in your, I literally have to record in the bathroom sometimes or in the closet so that my children don't get in the way. The acoustics are not the same. So one thing that happened that was really magical is that a sound engineer who works with my colleague James Kallenbach, he went into Rockefeller Chapel and somehow created a filter that we could put the sound through that would recreate the acoustics of Rockefeller Chapel. So where we would have normally been performing this in the fall. So we all submitted our files. I put them together and edited each one. And then this guy who's very sweet put it through the Rockefeller Chapel filter, which is like, it was really magical to hear it for the first time. So I'm gonna play that for you. And I put pictures of winter because it hadn't gotten cold yet, and it was the idea of snow was very romantic in my mind still. Now it's a little too real, but so this is Ubi Caritas with some beautiful photos of Rockefeller Chapel and just Chicago in winter. I'll just keep my screen shared and introduce the next song. By the way, the translation of that is basically the where is charity, sorry, where there is charity and love, God is there. The next song, back to the theme of not just more spiritual love, but actual love for Valentine's Day. We're going to Bulgaria, and this is a piece called Snoshti Saminal. I love this piece. It's by Peter Krumov. He was an arranger who a composer and arranger who created more choral arrangements of traditional Bulgarian folk songs. This one has a great text. I'm just going to read you the translation. Last night I went to your house, sweet Elenke. Last night I went to your house. In front of the door, sweet Elenke, in front of your door. There I lost my flutes, sweet Elenke, my special copper flutes. Did you find them, sweet Elenke? Did you find them? I did not find your flutes, young man. It was my mother who found them, in my trousseau trunk, between my clothing. When you see my flutes, sweet Elenke, when you see them, please think of me, sweet Elenke. Please think of me. Because it's clear that mom is not letting those two see each other again. Remember, don't leave your flutes places where you might get in trouble.
Snoški samina kuzumelenke, snoški samina, prebašte porti kuzumelenke, prebašte porti. Tam si zagubi kuzumelenke,
This next song, some of you might recognize, it's by Tom Petty. It's called Wildflowers, but this arrangement is by the wonderful women's trio, the Waylon Jennies, who we love very much. And this was one of the ones that was synthesized at 4 a.m. And one of our singers drew a picture. She was like, I feel terrible. I was in another class on Zoom and I just couldn't stop doodling and thinking about the song Wildflowers. So she sent me her little doodle and we put it up, and it's just the screen for the whole recording. But there's also one of our singers recorded herself playing some of the voice parts on her flute and sent them in. So you might be able to hear a little flute at some point too. Now, we do have singers in the choir that play banjo and guitar, but they haven't had enough time. We only started this piece last week. And they haven't had enough time yet to record guitar and banjo parts. So you'll hear that we used the instrumental interludes from the original Waylon Jennies track, and then our voices are singing over it. So here we go. It's complicated, really complicated nowadays.
Somewhere you feel free.
By the way, I'd love your feedback at some point. Think about it, and like if you want, write to me. I It's hard for me to do these kinds of concerts. I mean, it's not even the concerts, it's just everything. I actually just want to listen to the voices and not focus on visuals. But there's such a pressure in the choral world to put up people's faces and pictures and everything. I'd be really interested to hear your own thoughts on like what it's like to listen to this, to just any sort of music like this in a virtual collaboration kind of world. Um, our next song, okay, so our next song we recorded in December. This is the University Chorus singing Ken Burton's piece called Rest. Ken Burton is a Black British composer who he's really well known for doing movie and TV show kind of soundtracks. And he was the choir master for the production of the movie Black Panther. So he's really gaining popularity right now. But he wrote this gorgeous gem of a piece called Rest. Um, I put this together at 4 a.m. in terms of the visuals, and I was like, I'm not a visual artistic person at all. So I literally just took a picture off my phone and put it up there. And it's this plant, this bush that I kept walking by in autumn, and every day it was like a million different colors, and I was obsessed with it. So I just used pictures of a bush outside my house. I apologize. One day I will have artistic talent. Actually, no, I won't. But when I have more than a few weeks to put it together, I promise I'll get better photos up. But in any case, appreciate and enjoy the bush outside my house changing colors, and also Ken Burton's beautiful piece Rest.
Come on to him, he'll give you rest. Come on to him, he'll give you rest.
pretty, the leaves, I mean. Sorry. The choir is great too, but the bush is really cool. Okay, so now I want to show you guys a little bit about what I'm talking about in terms of bringing in foreign artists to teach us directly. So one thing we were really lucky to learn this was that fall? Yes, this fall is a beautiful Quebecois piece by our dear friend who's a incredible performer of traditional Quebecois music, Nicholas Williams. And what was so magical is that, you know, ordinarily we would like listen to a professional recording and like try to imitate it. But because everyone all over the world is in lockdown, our resources are sort of limited. But Nicholas came and gave us a workshop over Zoom and taught us this song, and then sent us the most lovely practice track that he put together with whoever was in his house at the time. And of course, they all sing. So it's him, his wife, and their dear friend who's living with them singing this traditional piece together and teaching it to us. And so I'm just wanted to show you one verse of it to see like what it's like to learn directly from people in another part of the world. This piece, by the way, the translation is, "My dear friends, I invite you, having all the," oh, sorry, this is like a really rough word for word translation, but "My dear friends, I invite you, having a glass in hand. Let's drink, sing, and laugh well while we're in this world. Let's live happily and live well, because we don't know if we'll be dead tomorrow." I know it sounds depressing, but it just is. It's real, right? Then there's all sorts of other verses about um, worrying. We have to enjoy the present because there might not be good wine in heaven. And we might not find good performances of people singing in heaven. Goodbye to all of those people we love. Goodbye. Enjoy them well now while we're here is basically the idea. So this is so sweet. Here's Nicholas and his family teaching us the song, and you'll see they put the words on the bottom of the screen. This is just the first verse.
Je vous invite, emmenant tous le verre en main. Mes chers amis, je vous invite, emmenant tous le verre en main. Buvons, chantons et rions bien, pendant que nous sommes dedans ce monde. Vivons contents et vivons bien. Peut-être nous serons tous morts demain.
So now what I'm going to show you is learning from that. I'm going to play you two different trios by some of our university chorus singers. By the way, the next thing I put up was just pictures of Quebec. I stole them from the internet, don't get mad. I'll get rid of them soon and ask singers to send me pictures of Canada. We actually have quite a few singers in Canada right now who have like graduated and moved away, but can still sing with us because we're remote. So the first trio, the way that this happened was we asked our singers, somebody please record the melody. So someone would like record themselves singing, "Mes chers amis, je vous invite," and then they'd send it in to me. I would then put it up on our like web page, and then someone else would record their own voice part singing against that one and then send it to me. I'd line them up. Then a third voice would send me that voice part and send it to me, and I would line it up and put it into one file so that they sounded like they were standing next to each other. But in fact, they're not. By the way, don't freak out if you're a native French speaker. This really is Quebecois French, okay? Some people get very like, that's not proper French. Well, it is in Quebec. Okay, here we go. So here's our first little chorus trio.
Mes chers amis, je vous invite, en tous le verre en main. Mes chers amis, je vous invite, le Père emmène. Buvons, chantons et rions bien, pendant que nous sommes dans ce monde. Vivons, comptons et vivons bien. Peut-être nous serons tous morts demain.
And then here's a second trio that tried it.
Les chers amis, je vous invite en ayant tous les Véroniques. Mes chers amis, je vous invite en ayant tous les Véroniques. Buvons, chantons et rions bien. Pendant nous sommes dans ce monde, vivons, comptons et vivons bien. Peut-être nous serons tous morts demain.
So that's just an example of like people here trying to learn directly from culture bearers in other places, but also all the different ways in which you can try to put together remote collaborations. Like some of them you're listening to a source recording and singing along, but others you're actually listening to the voice of the person in your choir and recording your voice directly against that person, which is a really neat experience. Again, we don't normally get to sing that intimately in regular rehearsals with 130 people. So it's kind of great to have those chances. Anyway, next one is Women's Ensemble. This is an arrangement of R. Fisher Boyce's Beautiful Star of Bethlehem by Emily Miller. And again, this was a piece I actually encouraged them to sort of try to learn on their own from these practice tracks that we had. And what they put together was really sweet. So we had a lot of singers record who had never wanted to ever sing by themselves before. So this is like their first time doing anything, singing one on a part.
Oh, beautiful star of Bethlehem, shining afar through shadows dim, giving a light for those who long have gone, and guiding the wise men on their way unto the place where Jesus lay. Oh, beautiful star of Bethlehem, shine on, shine on. Oh, beautiful star, beautiful star of Bethlehem, shine upon us until the glory dawns. Give us the light to light the way unto the land of perfect day. Oh, beautiful star of Bethlehem, shine on, shine on. Oh, beautiful star, the hope of light, guiding the pilgrims through the night, over the mountains till the break of dawn, into the light of perfect day. It will give out a lovely ray. Oh, beautiful star of Bethlehem, shine on, shine on. Oh, beautiful star, beautiful star of Bethlehem, shine upon us until the glory dawns. Give us the light to light the way unto the land of perfect day. Oh, beautiful star of Bethlehem, shine on, shine on. Oh, beautiful star, the hope of rest for the redeemed, the good and blessed. Yonder in glory when the crown is won, is won. For Jesus now that star divine, brighter and brighter he will shine. Oh, beautiful star of Bethlehem, shine on, shine on. Oh, beautiful star, beautiful star of Bethlehem, Bethlehem, shine upon us day. Oh, beautiful star of Bethlehem, shine on, shine on. Oh, beautiful star of Bethlehem, shine on, shine on.
So that's a little bit of intimate recording. This is a beautiful Swedish piece, Jag såg dig, by it's a traditional song, but the arrangement we're doing is by this women's quartet from Sweden called Kraja, and they are just the most beautiful singers. This piece is one I've been wanting to learn forever, and it was so exciting to finally get to do it, even though we were remote. The lyrics mean, I saw you, and since that day, you're the only one I see in the world. You must be the rose wreath I wrap around my heart. In royal castles, in courts and cities, I only see you in the crowds of thousands. It's a nice love song. Now, I created the Ubi Caritas video before it got cold out, and I thought snow was really great and romantic. Now that it's snowing, I did the opposite. I'm longing for days of warmerness, right? So this starts out with some photos I took outside when it snowed the other night, and then it goes backwards and moves into pictures of autumn and even back towards summer because I missed the warm weather. This is literally just my own needing for warmth and has nothing to do with the song. But I have invited my singers to now start sending me photos that are actually relevant to Sweden. So in the meantime, I was like looking at my photo roll, either we have some really pretty nature photos from Hyde Park, or we have pictures of IKEA furniture that I've built, which is the closest thing I have to Sweden. So I figure you'd rather see pretty nature. Here we are.
Jag såg dig och sen den dagen jag endast dig i världen ser. Jag såg dig och sen den dagen jag endast dig i världen ser. Du måste vara rosenkransen, du måste vara rosenkransen. Jag lindar om mitt hjärta, jag lindar om mitt hjärta. I kungars slott, i avågsstäder, jag ser bland tusen det blott dig. I kungars slott, i avågsstäder, jag ser bland tusen det blott dig. Du måste vara rosenkransen, du måste vara rosenkransen. Jag lindar om mitt hjärta, jag lindar om mitt hjärta. Jag såg dig och sen den dagen jag endast dig i världen ser. Jag
So that is the conclusion of the remote collaboration part of this performance. I thought maybe it would be nice to hear a few things that were recorded live at Logan Center and in Rockefeller Chapel within the last year and a half. So I'm going to play you just a few of those pieces. This is If You Love Me by Thomas Tallis, and this was performed right before the shutdown, a week before. And I'm actually going to skip ahead. I planned a lot of music just in case, but I'm going to skip ahead to another song in Rockefeller. This was from the fall, and this piece is it's called Sancta Mariae, but it's by Hernando Franco. This is one of those pieces written in the Renaissance in Mexico in the colonial era, and the composer, we don't actually know if it was by this composer or if it was by one of the indigenous people who was composing and studying with Hernando Franco, because at the time you would only put your teacher's name on the score as composer. And what's interesting about this is it's composed not in Latin, but in Nahuatl. So this is one of these examples of pieces composed in the indigenous language and performed by indigenous people during the early colonial era. So we also did two versions of it that we put back to back like a medley. Some people believe it should be performed fast because it utilizes dance rhythms that are, again, belong more to the Nahuatl culture. But also people imagine that in the context of a Christian service, it would have been a processional that would have been done slowly. So we perform both interpretations back to back. Hopefully this is the very beginning. I'm gonna just make sure that. There we go.
Santa Maria
I'm gonna play three more songs for you. One is a South African Sutu setting of Psalm 23 called Kinali. Sorry, I put the wrong title. It's Kinali Mudisa. That means I have a boyfriend, not I have God. That's totally an accident, my typo just a few minutes ago when I put the titles in. I'm gonna make sure I fix that. That's actually hilarious. That's a different song. It is a real song. So Kinali Mudisa, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. But then it talks about the end. I love this part of the translation. It says, he leads me to green pastures, gives me food that gives me life. He leads me to small rivers and waters that quench my thirst. Enemies can hate me. I am still feasting. My cup is overflowing and I live happily. So that is the Sutu translation of this version of Kinali Mudisa. In there. The next song is also from that same performance. It's from the Republic of Georgia. It's kind of a medley of songs. Khanshi Shesulo, which is from the mountainous region of Tusheti, juxtaposed with a very sort of universal song ending called Rashovda. And you'll see traditional Georgian dancing in this, done by two members of the chorus who came with me to the Republic of Georgia to study and learn Georgian dancing. So this is Khanshi Shesula, and the words are about a shepherd. You are not young anymore, shepherd, but your heart still wants to sing. How can I believe that you don't know grief and love? How can I believe that you have not been oppressed by fate? How can I believe that you have not lost your childhood? And I know it's 1 o'clock, but if you don't mind, I'm just going to show you one more song. This is Done Made My Vow to the Lord by Nolan Williams Jr.
Done made my vow to the Lord, and I never will turn back. Oh, I will go, I shall go to see what the end will be. Done made my vow to the Lord, and I never
are all our songs for today. I hope that the mix of remote collaboration and live performance is interesting. Just to see how different the world has become right now, and also get to look back at what it was and think about how different it will be in the future, because the truth is some of the lessons that we've learned from being remote we're going to carry with us into the new era, so it'll be very interesting. I'm just now looking at the chat. If anyone has any questions, feel free to unmute and ask me. I am totally here. I can also
I just thank you. It's just so wonderful. I really can't wait to hear you in person.
right.
Hopefully.
Me too.
Yeah. This is a terrific, much better than listening to the impeachment, I must say.
Right.
It was totally enchanting and transporting. It was just fills me with joy and serenity. It's just lovely. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Your technical production skills are excellent.
Mm.
You make it look so easy, and I know how hard it really is.
You know what's so sad? It's so many all-nighters. It really is.
Yeah.
It's just like, because also I can't get any of it done with my children being
Yeah.
conscious. And so it's like 3 a.m, man, that is a really good time to put together a virtual collaboration.
We have a program, a list of the songs performed.
Yeah, I can, what I'll do is I'll email it to Susan, and then if that works, you guys can feel free to distribute it.
Maybe that could be posted with the recording.
Yeah, perfect. Yep.
And I love your photos of the snow. We don't have snow in Texas very often, so it was just lovely. And I know you all are tired of it, but it was beautiful. And that shrub is so beautiful, that whatever it was.
What is it? Does anyone know?
No, but it's very nice.
Yes, yes.
I would give yourself a good pat on the back for your credits, for your photography, for your visuals. They added to the music and the centering experience.
Yes.
Ditto.
Very good
Ditto.
to know.
No, thank you, Molly. This has been just delightful.
Stunning.
There was a question in the chat about how the singers are submitting these audio files and the spacing. And because we're all listening to the same source file, ideally everybody will sing all the notes at exactly the same time, but it is not the case. Obviously, there's little variations. And what happens is if you just put all of them in, you can hope that enough of them balance each other out. But there are a lot of times where I literally edit every single person, like every person's word, and like I have to move them slightly to the left or right for them to line up. So sometimes for certain songs, it's okay to have it be a little bit more free, but other songs, like certain classical ones, I literally move in fact, yesterday I spent time working on moving one person's syllables. Each syllable had to be moved over in one direction or the other. So it really is painstaking work. It's unbelievable to remember a time where you just like got up in front of people and they just listened to each other and sang at the same time. But the other thing that's just interesting to think about is that even in a real performance, not everybody is singing every syllable at exactly the same time, right? So in a way, it sort of is, this has made us question so much about what is an authentic singing experience. Like, do we really all line up perfectly when we sing together? No, right? It's been very interesting. Yeah, I feel like all the lessons we've learned from this period are really valuable. And so anyway, and it's such a pleasure to get to share this with you, because really, obviously, we don't get to have like performances in the normal sense anymore. And it's so lovely to get to share this with you guys. So thank you for having me today.
Well, thank you very much for
Kathy Williams had a comment.
Yes, I know. Oh, Kathy, that's what I had to put that piece in. I was going to mention it, and then I didn't know if it would just make people.
I was afraid it might be a downer, but it was so wonderful to see her in that performance, because she was such an enthusiastic and very well-trained musician.
Right, I know. And Arlene, I really I miss her voice all the time. Like, I think about these remote collaborations and I kind of lie to myself and pretend like, well, she, like a lot of people, she didn't have time to submit a file, and that's why her voice isn't there. But I'm gonna have to face the reality one day when we get back in person that her voice isn't there anymore. And it's, again, another reason this has been so magical is that I can put up a video from less than a year ago where Arlene is singing in it. And that's really an amazing way to have her voice still with me. So I'm glad, thank you for mentioning that, because it means a lot to see her singing.
Well, I'm impressed with all the languages you use.
Yep.
I especially like the Quebecois. I've got a Quebecois daughter-in-law.
Oh, wow.
And the
That's
accent
the
sounds
hardest
so
part.
authentic.
The language thing is one of our favorites. We really love tackling stuff in other languages. And I find that if you just don't act like it's really hard, people will will approach it as though it's not very hard, and they just lean in and go for it. It also helps that we do a lot of languages that nobody has any expertise in. So like we're all on equal playing field. It doesn't matter whether you've, oh, I'm so great, I've studied classical music, I know exactly how to pronounce my Germanic Latin versus my Italian Latin. Great, well, sing in Nahuatl, go, and everybody is like, okay, we're all on equal footing, So we do a lot of, but the funniest is actually Quebecois is one of the most challenging, because people who do speak French have such a hard time.
Oh, sure.
Adjust. Yeah.
What about Chinese?
I know, Guy, we need you to come in and do some Chinese coaching. Do you know what's really sad? I had a Chinese piece that one of my students brought to me, and we were going to perform it. And then I realized there was no published score. They gave me a Xerox copy. And so I reached out to the composer, and the composer was horrified that people were disseminating their music. And actually all the performances of that piece got taken down from YouTube, and I feel like it's all my fault because I tried to do it the right way. So I'm serious, we're hunting for a good choral arrangement of a Chinese piece to do. So, and when we do, we're going to do pronunciation for us.
And you'll do it for the village, you'll perform it for us.
Oh yeah, and Guy can give an introduction.
Perfect.
Susan, you keep watching that and get her booked.
I'm sorry. Yes.
I said, you keep watching that and get her booked.
Well, thank you again, Mollie.
Were you recently singing in Canada, in Quebec?
No, Nicholas is a dear friend, and we brought him in to do a workshop just before everything shut down. Okay. And then we were really mad that we didn't get to do more stuff with him, because he was supposed to come back again. And so we've just been like missing out on our chance to work with him. And so we've been connecting a lot over Zoom, but we have not done like a camp in Quebec to study Quebecois music. Normally we bring our Quebecois teachers to the US, but it might be a lot of us might like to go to Canada sometime soon. One day, if other countries allow us to go back to them, I think it'd be really fun to like do a camp where we get to study lots of Quebecois music in Canada. It'd be really fun.
Well, thank you, Mollie, so much for this. And
Very much.
I can't wait for the next one.
we look forward to it as well.
Have a wonderful day, guys.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.